Hey there, guess what? I've got a cling stamp set, and cling means it's rubber. So I wanted to show you how I'm applying the labels. And I looked at a couple of YouTube videos and to get an idea, and this is going to be a first for me. So I thought I'd share with you what I think is a really great way to apply the labels to the cling. So when you get your box, remember, if it says photopolymer, it's clear, but this is cling. And I love the outdoors, so the trees really appeal to me. And I'll show you also a trick that I do with the thin cuts. So when you open it up, there is some instructions here, which I never even paid attention to. Okay, I'm a visual learner. I like seeing things done and then to apply. So you do get a sheet that has the labels on here. So you can see I've already applied a few. Then you also get your rubber stamps. Now I'm going to keep all of this in here. And I haven't decided if I'm going to pull this backing off, but I wanted to show you what I think works quite well. Now, remember, this is new to me too, so you have to understand we're doing this together. Now, many of you have already been doing Stampin' Up! And you're familiar with the product, and kudos to you for being able to use their stamps and have enjoyed the process. So this is the one thing that you'll do. So for me, I got this set because I really love the outdoors and the trees and things like that. I'm sure I'll use this again and again, and I did get the dies to go with it. So for me, it's really a great set now. But this works with any cling set. So when you're seeing this right here, the sticky part of the labels are right under this like a waxy sheet, okay? So what happens is you'll have this, this side right here. We'll have to pull this away, and each one of these is usually split right here. There's a split to help peel it, and that will be fine. What I'm going to do is peel the full stamp off of this sheet and put that on my clear blocks that coordinate. So let's take this out. And I'm going to show you this tree first. So what I like to do, you can definitely pull it apart if you feel more comfortable and put this on the side. And you want to peel this piece off because this is sticky. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the part that will get the label. Okay, so this is useless. Now what I'm going to do is peel this off and put it on a block. And when I first did it, I realized I didn't have it the right way. And I'm showing you this because the sticky side is here. When we turn it over, we're going to match up the stamp. Now, the key, what I found to be the key, is not the image, but it is the outside layer of the cling. Okay, so there's a little split here, so I'm going to take my time and carefully peel that off. And if I could do it from this end, that would be great. So you want to do it where you're leaving the clingy part to the top of the block, and this is the sticky part. So just take your time. Okay. So you can see this outline is the piece of the puzzle that you want to marry to the stamp itself. Now, let me bring it a little bit closer so you can see. Okay. So I really want to look at that outline and then go right ahead and press that down. And that's it. Whoa, a little close, huh? And that's how it works. So what I can do is store this back in here. So I'm going to do all of them, and then I'll store it back in here. So let's try that again. So we're going to take the stamp out. Now you can also leave the cling in here, I mean the rubber stamp in here. And that's why I haven't decided if I'm taking that off yet. So this is, you want to find the stamp that matches off of here. And let's step back out. Okay, so once again, we're going to peel that off and maybe want it back in here. I'm going to peel this off and put it on a block. I'll take this one. Stick that down. Okay, that's the clingy part. And you'll see there's a little line where this splits. And I know many of you have those beautiful nails. It's just not in my body's makeup. All right, carefully peel that off. Now you want to make sure that you have this lined up exactly the way it belongs. So make sure that if you're looking at this, it matches the edges before you stick, because you have one shot of getting this, just one. So I think I liked it outside of it. And I really want to look over it and do my best to line up the material around the edge. Press that down and then peel that off. And then this will stick to your block so that you can stamp. Okay, so far so good. So that's how I'm going to be doing all of my stamps. I think that's the easiest way. There's one more left. I need a bigger stamp, so I'll do that one after. Okay, so that is what I'd like to do. And you can peel this off. It's just going to show that gray spongy area. It's not sticky at all. You can store them this way if you prefer, so you can see the rubber, and then you can just put them back in the tray. Okay, so it's up to you. If you want to glue this down, glue dots I think would work, but it's not necessary. But I like that it's going to hold everything in place. If I don't do this, these are just going to sort of cling, but they're not going to be perfection. Okay, so they will stick to the block just for using them for stamping, and then the rest will be in here. All right, so now let me show you about the die cuts that coordinate with this. So a lot of the sets have die cuts that coordinate, and it's in packaging. So to me, there's a lot of packaging. And I'm going to just throw this sleeve away. And it comes in a nice clear sleeve. And these are the die cuts, okay, that coordinate with this beautiful Cling Forever Forest stamp set. Now, it's just on like a thin piece of cardboard, and there's double stick tape that's holding them in place. And that is just not the way I roll, okay? And many of you have been with me with Close to My Heart, and you know we have used magnetic sheets. So I want to show you two different ways that you can do this. I actually have saved some of my magnetic sheets from a lot of the thin cuts that we've used in the past. So I am actually could pull everything off and store them on here and slide it back in here. So just to give you an idea, you'll pull these items off. But there's also another way, which I will be doing for keeping it right inside this box. So we'll see. So you really want to be careful as you're pulling these off. And you don't want to lose any, but you can see you get a lot of dies many dies in some of these. I mean, I'm quite surprised by how many. The inner, the outer, and just having fun with it all. So just carefully remove them. Now, I don't know if it's all going to fit well on the 6x6, so I'm just doing this with you for the first time. It's got to fit. I should have taken a photo of it, right? Just so that I know exactly how it gets back in that 6x6 format. So now you can see when you play around a little bit, you can get all of your pieces to fit. So this is how I would store it, and I would probably, I don't know, I'll keep the sleeve. Maybe you want to keep it in the sleeve, but you can put it right back in here, okay? That is not my preferred method. I would prefer to have it inside the box. Now, they do sell, Amazon sells 5x7 magnetic sheets that would fit in here. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut this apart because I don't have the 5x7s. But I did want to show you how this all lays in here. And what I want to show you is I have done it already. So I love the Seaside Wishes. And I'm going to keep everything in here, my extra cut pieces. So on this particular one, I have my stamps right here, and basically this is, oh, that's right, I saved the carrier sheet just to protect them, so that's good news, right? I put them back on here. Okay, now these are cling, so the sleeve is different than when it's, I'm sorry, these are photopolymer, so the sleeve is different than when it's a cling. So now you can see both, right? Now you can see how I actually used my 6x6, cut it down, and I used little glue dots to try to keep it together in there, and it has worked. So here I have my stamps. I'm going to save that sheet and just put it right back on top, okay? Throw in any extra pieces that I might have around that I haven't used. And I was even able to save, include the embossing folder. So this is the embossing folder that also is hybrid, that works where you can emboss and cut at the same time. So you just want to line these up so it actually goes this way. Put your paper in there and it will emboss and cut at the same time. So we'll be using this with Seaside Wishes to do the beach and the country woods and lace paper. So I thought I'd show that to you, right? Okay, so getting back to this. I'm going to take this off, slide it all off. So I'm going to go to 5 inches and I'm going to cut my, so if you happen to have these, maybe you can use it, and this will be 5, and then this has to be 5. So it's a 5x7, and I will use a couple of glue dots on here to get them to sit. Just want to use up the supplies I have right now, okay? And then I'll start, you know, layering my pieces back in here. Now I have a little extra room, but I want to glue those down, and then I'll put all my pieces back in here, and then I can store it all together. And I really like that. So I definitely want to glue this to the inside of this case and keep everything together. And like I said, I did like using this here to pull these out, so it keeps everything together. And I think it's just going to work out quite well by doing this. Remember, if you don't have if you don't have these kind of magnetic sleeves, buy 5x7s on. Okay, so I thought of something that I could use on the back of this before we get started with putting all our magnetic sheets down. Do you have those adhesive sheets? So I'm just grabbing a piece that I already had cut. It doesn't matter the size as long as it's smaller than what I'm using, but big enough to hold it. So let's get rid of that. You want to make sure you're putting it on the wrong side. of the magnetic sheet. Now I already did this and it is like solid in there. It's feeling great. It's not moving around. So even if you get the 5x7s, you'll be able to do this. And there we have it. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's really going to stick in there. So once again, that's just a great way to keep all of your die cuts and thin cuts together. I think you'll find this much easier storage-wise. I know we love storage, right? We love to keep things stored a certain way. As long as it closes, that's what matters the most, right? We could put some things inside our tree, some of our clouds. Maybe you want to keep all your clouds together. Okay. And I'm not hearing anything shake around, so that's all good. I'm really liking that, and I hope you do too. So one of the things I thought I would show you is with this cling stamp set, the die cuts. And these were all the die cuts that you can see, and I really like the mountain one. You can see how it has the little ridges right here. And when you thin cut it, so here was a piece that I thin cut it from, just to show you, and I did it along the edge. So if I would have kept more paper here, it would be deeper. But I wanted to show you this is what it looks like. So you have your mountain range or your snowy mountain range. And that's kind of fun to have that. Then you have all of these different die cuts. So the ones that coordinate with the stamp, we have this stamp and this stamp. So you can see, if I flipped it that way, it would be perfectly done. And you have this set right here, an individual one right here. So these all have die cuts, as well as there's some extra clouds that are in here and some little rocks and things. So there's a lot of die cuts that are inside this set, which is called Forever Forest, right? And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, because what I've noticed, and you can also see there's some other die cuts that are just cuts. There's no stamps that go along with it. So you can see all these great little trees. So they could be used for scrapbooking. They could be used for cards. I could see using them for lake life, things like that, the fall, and just really enjoying the options that you have. As you can tell, I used the Mossy Meadow ink pad and cardstock for these, or white. But you know that whenever I've done thin cuts, I've always cut the paper first and then stamped. I would recommend with the Stampin' Up dies is to stamp your images first, right? You have your stamp, you're going to stamp this first. Then you're going to die cut it. The reason being is that they are really, really close. They're not as widespread, or I should say there's not a lot of extra detail around the stamp as compared to the Close to My Heart ones. So they're really, and I wanted to point them out to you. So these are all die cut first, and then I stamped, and you can see how I'm off here. I'm still off here, and I'm still off here. On each one of these, I really didn't make the perfect cut stamp, except finally, I got it right on this one. And that's just really important to note, that you might want to do your stamping on the paper first and then die cut second, because the die cuts are really have a narrow edge around them when trying to stamp. And when you're using a cling stamp, you don't exactly see you can't see through them, right? So you're really kind of guessing a little bit. The image is going to cover it up. You're not going to see it. So that's why it would be much better for you to stamp first on the paper that you plan to die cut die cut second. Use washi tape, tacky tape to hold the die cut down, and then your images will be perfectly aligned. So I hope you found that helpful, and this is really a great set. If you love the great outdoors, you'll buy the stamp set. It's sold separately. The die cuts are sold separately, and as I've mentioned before, I put them in here with a 5x7 magnetic mat.